Good morning on what is a cool, bright and sunny day. It is Saturday, the September the 10th. I'm in the reading up with a nice hot cup of tea and some parcels to unbox. And this one I'm going to open is this one. So, get the knife. Okay, and what I have got in here is this. Oh, there you go. Tightly packed in there. This is Temple and Tombs, a Year Zero engine game, a role-playing game of action and adventure. So, from the cover, automatically we know this is a nod to Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark, bullwhip, revolver, snakes, idol of some kind, action and archaeology. So, terror, suspense. You will not believe the dangers in store for you for your intrepid heroes. Will they discover ancient secrets, lost civilizations, or priceless treasures? Will they escape treacherous villains, evil superpowers, or deathly traps? Temples and Tombs is a role-playing game devoted to creating the fast-paced adventures popularised in pulp magazines that led to films like Raiders of the Lost Ark, the 1999's The Mummy, and Romancing the Stone. Built on the Year Zero engine system, the framework that drives free league games such as Tales from the Loop and Mutiny Zero, Temples and Tombs is adapted to fit the two-fisted adventure pulp genre in several ways. Custom skills and talents engineered for fast-paced and adventurous setting. Luck mechanic provides more dice for added chances of success, but a chance to run out of luck. Hero mechanic for additional successes to succeed. Condition-based consequences so that the heroes never die, but may be on the run or out. A scene structure that helps guide play to emulate favourite action adventure story. So that promises quite a lot. So inside, what we've got is more or less essentially introduction that kind of says the same. And how the game works. It's meant to be accessible, fast and decisive, adheres to no pain, no gain, player-centric, story-driven and adaptable, and explains how the game works, flows, page on content safety, because, you know, the set period when this is set, the 30s, essentially the 20s, but mostly the 30s, is a different time. And then we get into creating intrepid adventurers. So we have various professions. So you're going to pick one of those, decide upon your age, kid, in your prime, grizzled, and that's going to determine how many attribute points you have and how many skill points you have. And then you've got 4 attributes, limited selection of skills, and then each character has a talent which comes from your profession, and then an ambition, an institution that all the player characters belong to, and relationships, gear, encumbrance, and a signature item as well. So you can feel sort of like it, from that. I'm looking at this, I'm going, okay, this feels. I can see how it's sort of like emulating the pulp sort of like elements, but built upon the architecture of a Year Zero engine. Set up, limited number of stats. I presume the attributes are tied to the stats. Let's have a look. It doesn't say quite here. There we go. So this is just that's the ace. So we've got key attributes, skills, key skills, some talents, an ambition, gear, and a signature item, and so on. So all quite simple and accessible. And then you've got a limited list of skills, which are tied, each divided, so you've got like 3 per I'm presuming, yeah, 3 per stat. So it's a kind of setup that's familiar from Aliens, the role-playing game, Mutiny Zero itself, and so on. It's simple, easy, and it's fast. And because it's year 0, what you're going to be doing is assembling a dice pool from your stat plus your skill, roll the dice, get 6s, succeed, and players also get, let's have a look, so you've got hero dice as well, so you've got no die type, so hero dice as well, which you roll, which you get when you do amazing things, or you generate extra successes above the 1, and then you roll them on your next action. And if they come up 6, you get heroic actions. There we go. So there's sort of like a dice economy sort of thing where, you know, you hope to roll 6. Okay, you be amazing, you earn extra, and you initially are, then you're more amazing potentially, and so on. And then, when you fail, instead of taking harm or damage, your character will take catches when things go wrong. And then catches can mean you might be off guard or emotional, or the script is flipped or overwhelmed, and that modifies your dice pools. And like all of your, you can push your luck as well, which is pretty much standard to year 0 games. And that gives you more, and then you've got luck dice, which is added to the roll, and that every time you get your luck dice, every time you sort of like you push your roll, you increase the number of luck dice you have. With more luck dice give you more chances to succeed. It can cause you problems if any of your luck die roll a 1. In that case, you clear your luck tracker, so you can obviously have a limited number of luck dice, and take a catch, take a hit. So we've got explanations of all the skills. And then so we have things like stunt, when you want to balance, swing, hide, climb a risky ledge, you do that as a physical stunt. Trick is when you want to deceive, lie to, or trick a person. Sway is handling your persuasion. Drive covers every kind of vehicle, so it's quite broad in its application. Then we've got talent. So for an ace talent, you get an additional hero dice when you use a skill to do something life-threatening, or professional adventurer. 3 additional languages, your choice. Socialite. You're wealthy. You get a hero die when rolling for income. And you've got some general talents as well, like got a bad feeling, you have a knack for sensing when trouble is coming your way. You get a hero die when you roll savvy to try to find something or someone hidden. So on. And then treasure hunter. You know treasure very well. Roll lore, and for each success, you can ask the director one of the following: what is the history of this treasure? What is this treasure's value? Who would want this treasure the most? What is the mystery or mythology or superstition surrounding the treasure? That's nice and thematic. And I'm getting to action scenes, and it's talking about set pieces and combat, also social combat as well. Taking catches, so we've got a bit of a repetition there of the rules. And then it's kind of got a list of vehicles and quick guidance. It's quick and dirty feel to it, more than anything. Then we get into spectacular stories and playing to sort of like an agenda or citizens, which is essentially for the director, never a dull moment, make it awesome, make it wondrous, and so on. And then as a director, block the characters away. So basically put blocks in their path, not to stop them, but for them to overcome as hurdles. Drive a hard choice, so escalate the situation, make it visual, ask questions, and always action, action, action. And then sort of got guide to story beats and building a story. And it's discussing sort of like, you know, the typical kind of structure, which is cold open. Cold open introduces the characters, not the plot. Beat 2, call to adventure. Beat 3, the journey. Beat 4, the dungeon. I mean, when it says the dungeon, I think they should be saying the tomb. You know, and that's where the MacGuffin is. Beat 5, the rap. And then we've got a table of MacGuffin ideas. But again, one of the great things about this is it's semi-historical, so you can just go back into your book of go grab a book of sort of like mysterious objects and history and treasure hunting and stuff like that, and find interesting and exciting things. You know, look at the world's greatest treasures and find out where they were in the 30s and construct a story about that. Set dungeon, piece, and dungeon ideas. And I said, I think they really mean tomb when they say dungeon. And we've got cold opens and prompts, table. So you can see kind of structure with those beats of how they really gone back to Raiders of the Lost Ark and to use that as the storytelling template. You know, so you've got the cold open is Indiana Jones and his party moving through the jungle to get to the cave complex, and then, you know, once that's developed, call to adventure, you switch back to Chicago and his teaching when the US government turns up and says, go get this. The journey, you know, is Indiana Jones going from the USA to Nepal and then to Egypt. The dungeon in this instance is the Well of Souls with the snakes, and then the rap is, you know, is sort of like dealing with the aftermath. The table, it just seems to be discussing dreadful threats, like threatening groups and set pieces, and archetypal kind of groups like Blue Blood Society, Cloak and Daggers for spies, Heroes Gone Bad. So you've got a range of ideas. Menacing Museum. So that's just the idea that just how many museums will go, how far will museums go to get objects. Mutant supervillains, if you want to kind of escalate your pulp gaming to that kind of subgenre. Paramilitary radicals, so, you know, revolutionaries, that sort of thing, and then beasts, and monsters, and then we go on to adventures. We've got Temple of the Feathermat, complete with its MacGuffin, which is the Feather of Truth, and what's going on and so on. So that's actually quite a lengthy adventure. Including a map. I'm going to show you what Crete is. And then what have we got next? Oh, Sky Zeppelin and the Valley of Yesteryear. So not one, not two adventures. For example, essentially it says you can use any, it's giving you guidance here for fitting this to the story beats that it discussed earlier. You can use any cold open for the story beats should feature the Society of Global Naturalists as their primary employer, and so on. It's given guidance to setting the thing up for the director, and that takes you into South America and hopefully a valley full of lost beasts. and of course, oh yeah. So you've got the Spinosaurus and the Carnotaurus. So big monsters there. And with the lost works of William Shakespeare and the Oak Island Mystery. And the Oak Island Mystery is basically is a site, supposed site of buried treasure, which it keeps saying has been found, but not found, and people keep digging it and flooding it, and people have died, so on. And the interesting thing is that introduced as a threat here is Franklin Delano Roosevelt. And famously, he actually, he did sort of like get involved in digs on the island. Yeah, that's quite interesting. A nice piece of sort of tying it into history. So yeah, yeah, that's going to be quite fun to get involved in. That's quite exciting adventure, I would have thought. So yeah, that looks fun. So yeah. Temple and Tombs, Year Zero engine Pulp Action game. Now this looks fun. It's the luck mechanic looks a bit odd, where you're sort of gaining dice to roll, which increases your chance of sort of like rolling one and sort of running out of luck, rather than sort of like losing luck dice, like running out of luck. But I think this feels a bit quick and dirty. A bit rushed around the edges, but yeah, if you're looking for sort of like something which is, if you've played a Year Zero engine and you want a Pulp Action game, I think this is a perfectly good choice. But otherwise, if you sort of like looking for a sort of quick pick up and play pulp game, supported with sort of like with 3 sort of like reasonably quite lengthy scenarios, then I think you'd be quite impressed by this. But anyway, so it's published by Gallant Knight Games. So yeah, Temples and Tombs. Anyway, I hope you have enjoyed this unboxing in the Nook. If you have, please do click on the like button down below. And of course, if you've got any comments or feedback, appreciate you taking the time to post those. And lastly, if you want to be alerted to yet more unboxings in the Nook, where you will see me out here, well, with a box, not that box, but a different box, from which I will unbox and get a book or game and chat about to the best extent of my knowledge, all of course accompanied by a nice hot cup of tea. Please hit that subscribe button down below. In the meantime, thanks again for watching another unboxing in the Nook. I'll be back again soon with another one. Bye for now.